Okay, this is Notes Day 3 on Unit 3, and remember you should pause and rewind this video so you can get all these notes down. And this first part is, where does the distance formula come from? But this is really important because you got a couple of questions on your test about this, so you want to make sure you really pay attention and you get this part as well. So the distance formula comes from the Pythagorean theorem, which is just how to find the hypotenuse of a triangle if I know the legs of a right triangle. And in order to find this side here, I'm going to mark in pink, we would take whatever this end of the triangle is minus this end. And that gives us this side. That's how long this pink part is. And this pink part would be the horizontal leg, because it's horizontal, and these two sides are called the legs. This other part would be the vertical leg, and it would be how long this is right here. And this would be the top y minus this y. And this would be the vertical leg. And this side here is the hypotenuse. And this is the side we would be looking for if I'm trying to find the distance from A to B, or the length of AB. It's the hypotenuse of the triangle I'm really looking for. So this would be side A in my Pythagorean theorem. This would be side B. And the hypotenuse would be C. So we're just going to plug those things in here. My A is this part here. My B is the orange part I got over here. And I have C squared here. But I don't really want C squared, I really want just C. So I'd have to take the square root of both sides. So again, this would be the horizontal leg, the length of the horizontal leg squared, plus the length of the vertical leg squared, and then I take the square root. The only other thing they do on the distance formula is, instead of calling this side C, they call that D for distance. Now this is the formula we're going to use on every one of these problems, and you need to have this memorized for the test, and it will help you if you write this down every time. Every time I work on these problems, I write this down, because if you write it down every time, you don't have to try to memorize it, you'll just memorize it because you write it down. So take the time, copy this down each time, pause and rewind the video if you need to get it copied. So the only thing about this is, just like on midpoint, you have to keep the x's and y's organized. So I'm going to use color again. You are welcome to use color on yours on the test, if that helps you out. So I'm going to plug in my x's here for this part. Here's my two x's. And then I'm going to do this x part, which I get negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12 squared. And negative 12 squared gives me 144. Remember, negative 12 times negative 12, that gives me a positive. Now, it may have bothered some of you that I did this one minus this one, and you might have thought I needed to do it the other way, 4 minus 8. Well, let's see what would happen if I did it in the other order. 4 minus negative 8 squared, well, minus the negative is a positive, so I'd get 12 squared, which would still give me 144. Notice that's the same thing, so doesn't even matter which one I put first. I don't have to be careful about that. All I have to be careful is that I get the x's in this one and the y's in this one, and I watch out for all those negative signs, because the negative signs will mess you up. Okay, so let me come back over here and finish this side. That's 5 squared, so that's 25. Then we add these together. The square root of 169, put that on my calculator, and I get 13. Alright, so we're going to do the next one. Same thing, I'm going to write the formula down. And I'm going to highlight my x's and y's. So I take the pink ones, put here, put the orange ones here. 12 squared is 144. Same thing on that one. Add. And this time I can't just straight take the square root of this part, so we're going to simplify the radical. If you didn't watch the simplifying radical video, you should. So this is 2 times 144. 144 is 12 times 12. Circle that, it goes on the outside. 12 squared is 2. Okay, the next one. What if we have a picture? Well, first I should figure out where G and H are. G is at -8 and 6. And H is at 1 and 8. And now I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to pause and write this part down so it doesn't take so long. Okay, so I wrote down our formula. I plugged in our pink ones here for the x's and the orange ones here for the y's. Pause or rewind the video if you need to for that part. And then I went ahead and typed it into my calculator. And I typed the same thing in my calculator that I had up here. Notice I didn't put the square root. Just do the part that's inside the square root and get your number here. And then when you write it down, write down square root of 85. And then we're going to simplify this if we can. Well, we know 5 will go in there. Get this divided by 5. Well, that's 17. So does that reduce anymore? Nope, that's the answer. Okay, this last one on this side is probably the easiest question, and I'm doing it because there's one like this on the test. So I just wrote the formula down from up here, and then we're just going to plug in our stuff. What are our two x's? Well, it's a and 2a, and our y's are 2b minus -3b. And it even says do not simplify. That's the whole answer. These are so easy that this should be the easiest question on the test. On the homework, these are multiple choice. You're going to have one like this on the quiz, on the knowledge check next time, and you've got one on the test that are multiple choice just like this. You don't even have to simplify. That's the whole answer. Okay, this is on the back, and it says that I've got vertices of a triangle ABC, and it gives me the points. So I went ahead and graphed these over here and labeled them. Pause and graph your points. Okay, then it asked me to find the length of each side and the perimeter. Well, the perimeter, I need all 3 sides, and I add them up. So first of all, since this happens to be going straight across, do I even have to use the distance formula? No. On the homeworks for today, they don't go straight across. You have to use the distance formula. But you do have some on the test like this where if it goes straight across, you can just count how far that is. Well, that's 12. So I can just write down AB is 12. And this side is 5. Then I'm going to use the distance formula to find this side here. So I copied the formula down. I highlighted my B and C, which is the ones I'm looking for. I plugged in my X's, I plugged in my Y's. I put it on my calculator, and I got my answer as square root of 169. Pause, get all this written down on your own. That tells us that this side is square root of 169 is 13. Then I still need to do the perimeter, which you find the perimeter by adding up the 3 sides. 5 plus 12 plus 13 equals 30.